Good news, we found an engine, but with one small problem.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
So there are plenty of mini engines on eBay, but not so many automatics, and in particular 1275s. But we really got lucky and found this one in England, which also included a subframe. Now the owner of the engine said it had done around about 50,000 miles, and on quick inspection it looks that way. So we started to paint it and start to do some test fitting of some of the products that we want to use moving forward, just to make sure that everything was okay. As you can see here, doing some painting as well. So as you can see, when you take the front cover off the automatic gearboxes, you can't really see that much. So what I'm going to do is, I found this Wi-Fi endoscopy scope with the camera and light on the end that allow me to go through the back of the engine without completely disassembling it, to make sure everything's okay. Now, with this being a relatively low mileage one, this is much easier than having to do a full strip down. So I will go through the sides here, underneath, and through the back, and then I will follow the oil channel through the top here, which is basically where the original oil filter would have been, and we will see what condition the gearbox is in. So I'm going in through the top of the engine here and following where the filtered oil would draw. And the first thing to note is that the oil feeder pipe was missing on this engine. The port that you see in front of you should have a pipe connected to it, allowing oil to drop down into the converter, and that's not happening, which means this engine could have been starved of oil at some point. As I looked at the engine further though, everything seemed to be in fairly good condition, so maybe this was just lost in a disassembly or when it was removed from the car. So I'm not too concerned at this point. And you can see the Delring slider, which is like a hard plastic, seems to be in pretty good condition. So I think we're okay to move ahead with a rebuild. So I'm moving the scope to the speedo drive side, basically to try and check out the back end of the engine, where the small pivots are for the speedo drive and the spring condition. These are notorious on high mileage engines to have worn and to have play in them. But again, looking at this and the bearings, it all looks like it's in pretty good shape, or at least representative of a 50,000 mile car. You can also see here the oil feeder pipes I was talking about from the top of the engine in the speedo drive, they're still in place, which is a good sign, which means the one on the top of the engine probably just got lost in a service or in a strip down. So far all the indicators are looking good. So now we're going to move across onto the other side of the engine and check out some of the drive gears to see what condition they're actually in as well. And as you can probably see here, it all looks fairly clean. No metal, no chips. Pinion gears look good. So it doesn't look like the engine was starved of oil. Probably just lost when it was taken out of the car. So far, fingers crossed, all looking pretty good. So going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, a slight problem with the engine. Well, actually the engine itself is good and it's coming together quite nicely. Even though this engine came with a lot of the parts, including the subframe, what it did not come with is the automatic shifter lever itself. And despite all my chasing around to the various mini suppliers and specialists, Mini Sport, Mini Huddersfield, Mini Spares, Mini Mania, Summerfield, you name it, I've only been able to piece together one or two pieces for the automatic linkage and the shifter itself. And I'm hoping that reaching out to the Mini community, maybe I can solve this problem. I know a lot of people took out automatic engines to put in manuals, so there must be some parts out there somewhere. At the moment, I've only been able to find the shifter housing cable itself, and also the mount that goes underneath the shifter housing. I've even managed to find a brand new inhibitor switch from a guy in Japan. But that's it so far. So there's quite some crucial parts missing. At the end of this video, what I'll do is I'll post up the pictures of the pieces that I'm looking for, and hopefully one of you guys out there know someone, or maybe yourselves have the parts that I'm looking for, which would be fantastic. I'll put a small video after this one that shows you the parts that I'm looking for. If you find something or you know of someone, please post a comment below and I'll reach out and get in contact. It would be appreciated. Otherwise, I'm going to have a nice car, nice engine that just will simply not move. Yeah, that's it for this update. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.